Hi, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Hobbyist Now, your one stop shop.
For all things nerdy and dirty.
That's right. That's right. I'm Claudian, and of course, this is the great and only Nick. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share if you like what you see. Also, leave a comment. We would love to hear from you.
We're also on Spotify. The link is in the bio.
So, we're going to start off as we usually do with some news. But before we do that, Last of Us premiered, and like we both got a chance to watch it. So, Nick, what do you think about it? What's your thoughts?
It was absolutely amazing. Probably, no, it is the best video game adaptation I've seen ever.
Hmm.
They did what Resident Evil should have done and followed the damn game.
Yeah. Same. I think it's really well done. Minor issues, but nothing earth shattering. But yeah, so we're gonna so you really liked it, and I really enjoyed it, and yeah, we can't wait for the next episode. I've pretty much that for The Last of Us. Now we're gonna move on to our news, and we're gonna start off with Octopath Traveler 2. You ever play this game?
No, I actually have never even heard of this.
It's a great game. It's a old style 2D RPG, but it's 3D. So
wow.
it's got the it plays just like old SENS games, like but just with sort of the 3D environments, but it's still the same perspective. So it's phenomenal. Anyways, Square Enix began streaming, in fact, a new trailer for Octopath Traveler 2, the sequel to its Octopath Traveler um, role playing game. The video previews two of eight main characters, Cassidy, the Octopath, and Alchetti, the hunter. The RPG will feature eight new characters in the land of Solastia. The new game will feature crossed paths, which are stories involving two main characters. The game will launch on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and PC via Steam on February 24th. The original Octopath Traveler game shipped worldwide in July of 2018 for the Nintendo Switch. The game then launched on PC via Steam in June of 2019 and on Stadia in April of 2020. Over 3 million copies of Octopath Traveler sold worldwide. The same team who developed the Bravely Default game worked on Octopath, so Traveler. So kind of that quality. Some actual interesting news, something we don't normally talk about actually, is lawsuits. But we have one. Bandai Namco Holdings uh, just revealed on Wednesday, well, Wednesday of this article, that it is suing a former employee for 600 million yen, about 4.65 million in US, in damages, claiming that the employee sold internal company smartphones without authorization for their personal profit. According to Bandai Namco Holdings, its subsidiary company, Bandai Namco Entertainment, just noticed a discrepancy between the smartphones registered in its internal system and the number of smartphones actually being used by its employees in November of 2021. The launched an internal investigation. The company launched a deeper investigation on a suspected employee in April of 2022. The company discovered that the employee allegedly embezzled and sold 4,400 company smartphones between April of 2015 to April of 2022, which comes out to 600 million yen. That's crazy. Bandai Namco Entertainment fired the employee in December of 2022. A number of Bandai Namco Holdings and Bandai Namco Entertainment executives will, in fact, be taking on a pay cut from 15 to 30% of their monthly salary over the next 3 months as a way of taking responsibility for the incident. Now we're going to move it on to Nick and his favorite part.
So we'll be moving on to the figures, as everyone that watches this knows. We have the Ioto figure complex, Amazing Yamaguchi number 28, Endeavor action figure. He'll run you about $101.22. And I did forget to mention all these figures will be dropping in February of this year. He's pretty cool looking, very detailed. Then we move on to Good Smile Company, Inuyasha Pop Up Parade. He will be the black haired version, as you will see. He'll run you about $27.60. Then we have the Kyoto Amazing Complex Yamaguchi Batman action figure. This is probably one of the coolest figures we've actually. I'm a real big Batman fan. Probably one of the coolest figures that I've seen. His cape is articulated. It's not like cloth or anything. You can like stage him. It's just really cool looking. I'll probably post 2 pictures of him. He'll run you about $56.84. And then we have Good Smile Company, the boys, Homelander Figma character. He will run you about $77.87. Again, fantastic. I mean, all these characters are super high detailed, articulating, or like just really high quality statues. So, continuing on with our news, though, Power Rangers reunion. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers television series kicked off the Power Rangers phenomenon 30 years ago, and some of the original cast are reuniting for a standalone anniversary special titled Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always. The reunion is set to hit Netflix on April 19th. On Twitter, David Yost, the original Blue Ranger, shared the logo and some of the photos of the upcoming special. According to EW, the special stars Yost, original Black Ranger Walter E. Jones, Pink Ranger Catherine Sutherland, Steve Cardenas, Karen Ashley, and Johnny Young Bosch. EW also shared a description for the special, saying that Rangers will come to face with a familiar threat from the past amidst of a global crisis. They are called once again to be the heroes the world needs, inspired by the legendary mantra from the franchise: "Once a Ranger, always a Ranger." And then we move on to something fun. So Rush Hour 4 has been kind of talked about. It's been a while, actually. So apparently, appearing at a Red Sea International Film Festival, as reported by Variety, the martial arts star Jackie Chan confirmed that Rush Hour 4 is underway. We're talking about Rush Hour 4 right now, he revealed. The upcoming Rush Hour sequel has reportedly been in the works for a while now. Chris Tucker revealing back in 2018 that a 4th installment was in the cards. It's happening, he said. This is gonna be the rush of all rushes. Jackie is ready, and we want this to be the one that people don't forget. So yeah, for those who've been waiting for that. Some video game / movie adjacent news. The Rainbow Six film has been getting some talks and stuff lately. So Chadwick Stahelowski, John Wick franchise has been tapped to be director of the Tom Clancy adaptation for Rainbow Six for Paramount Pictures. Deadline can confirm. Details as to the plot of the film starring Michael B. Jordan are under wraps, but it marks the studio's follow-up to the actioneer Without Remorse, which went to Amazon for distribution in 2021 in April. Following COVID's pandemic throwing the theatrical into disarray, while it's not yet clear whether the film will go to theatrical or streaming, Jordan reprises his role as the CIA operations officer and former Navy SEAL John Clark. And then Claudian, why don't you pick it up?
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about something probably some of you may remember, but Biker Mouse from Mars, the 1993 television show Biker Mice from Mars, is in fact scheduled to return with a new toy line and animated series. According to comic book, and American multimedia company Nicel has acquired the rights to the Biker Mice from Mars franchise. Nicel is reportedly preparing to revive the IP within the next few months, with the company allegedly planning to release a new toy line and animated series to promote Biker Mice's characters. Though a new project was confirmed, it remains unclear if the animated series will be a complete reboot of the franchise or a simple sequel to the original show. Yeah, so the boys, the producer on the Boys has actually teased a more diabolical antics in season 4, claiming that he's actually in fact witnessed the most disgusting thing of his career while working on the next batch of episodes. The show's VFX supervisor and assistant producer, Stephen Fleet, made the bold claim on Twitter, telling his followers, I think I just saw the most disgusting thing I've ever seen working in this business thus far. The actual official Twitter account for the boys then quote retweeted his comment, joking that season 4 will be rated PG, in contrast to the show's past seasons carrying the TVMA rating. Amazon has generally allowed showrunner Eric Krispek free reign over the boundary pushing superhero satire, with the show featuring everything from full frontal nudity to bizarre sex scenes to extreme gore, violence, and one particularly explosive scene in last season's. We just we just kind of go for it. Kriplet admitted while speaking to IGN, as long as it helps flesh out the world or has a real point in the story, Amazon tends to be really cool about it. And yeah, that kind of lets us segue to our main topic, which is going to today be The Boys. So yeah, we're going to move over to that next. Hi, everyone. Before this episode begins, we just want to warn everybody that there's going to be some major spoilers for the content that we're talking about.
All right, so The Boys is an American superhero television series developed by Eric Kripke for Amazon Prime Video, based on the comic book of the same name by Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson. The Boys is set up in a universe where super-powered individuals called Supes are recognized as superheroes by the general public and work for the powerful corporation known as Vought International that markets and monetizes them. Outside their heroic personas, most are arrogant, selfish, and corrupt. The series primarily focuses on the groups, the Seven, Vaught's premier superhero team, and the Boys, vigilantes looking to bring down Vought and its corrupt superheroes, or Supes. The Boys are led by Billy Butcher, who despises all Supes, and the Seven are led by egotistical and unstable Homelander. At the start of the series, the Boys are joined by Huey Campbell after the superhero accidentally kills his girlfriend, and the Seven are joined by Annie January, a young and hopeful heroine forced to face the truth about those she admires. Other members of the Seven include the disillusioned Queen Maeve, the drug addicted A-Train, the insecure Deep, the mysterious Black Noir, and the white supremacist Stormfront. The Boys are rounded out by tactical planner Mother's Milk, weapon specialist, Frenchie, and superpowered test subject, Kimiko. Overseeing the Seven is Vought executive Madeline Stillwell, who is later succeeded by publicist Ashley Barrett. Other superpowered individuals include Victoria Newman, a congresswoman who publicly opposes Vought while secretly assisting the corporation, and Soldier Boy, Vaught's original premier superhero.
Yeah, it's a little bit about development. So in fact, the story begins in 2008. So from 2008 and 2016, a film adaptation of The Boys had actually been in various stages of development at both Columbia Pictures and Paramount Pictures. Adam McKay, who some people here may know, expressed interest in directing, and Matt Manafre and Phil Hay were in charge of the screenplay. McKay expressed interest in casting, in fact, none other than Russell Crowe as Billy Butcher and Simon Pegg as Huey, as well as shooting the film in 3D. On April 6, 2016, it was announced that Cinemax was in fact developing a television series adaptation of the comic book. The production was being developed by Eric Kripke, Evan Goldberg, and Seth Rogen. Kripke was set to write the series, while Goldberg and Rogen were set to direct. Executive producers were reported included Kripke, Goldberg, Rogen, Neil H. Mortz, and even Garth Ennis and Derek Robinson were actually set as co-executive producers. Production companies included with the series included Point Grey Pictures, Original Film, and Sony Pictures Television. On November 8th, 2017, it was announced that the Amazon actually was given the production a series order for the first season, which consisted of 8 episodes. The series had reportedly been in development at Amazon for a number of months preceding to the series order announcement. It was also reported that previous announced creative team was still attached to the series. Kripke wanted to retain a sense of reality to the show and keep the writers disciplined, so he decided anything that comes out of this drug is viable, and anything that doesn't, we're not allowed to do. He did not want to fall into the overused um, convention of killing off female characters to motivate the heroes, and also saw a opportunity to surprise readers of the comics by changing the story of Butcher's wife's Becky. On April 30th, 2018, it was announced that um, Dan Trachtenberg would actually direct the series. First episode, he replaced Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, who dropped out due to scheduling conflicts. Ahead of the series premiere on July 19th at the 2019 San Diego Comic-Con, it was announced that Amazon was actually renewed the series for a second season, which premiered on September 4th, 2020. And then that it would consist of 8 episodes, just like the previous season. Kripke was already starting to write a script just before the series premiere, revealing that it took a lot of tiptoeing around explanation to for the hit sophomore outing. The 8 scripts for the second season were completed by November 2019. On July 23rd, 2020, Amazon announced that the series was being renewed for a third season at the after show hosted by Ashley Tyler for the 2020 San Diego Comic-Con. The third season began filming in early 2021 with a then unknown release date. On October 30th, 2020, Kripke revealed that the third season would adapt actually the miniseries comic book Hero Orgasm, which is centered around the superheroes' orgy festivals. It would be adapted for the season 6 episode, which also would be called Hero Orgasm after the miniseries. Kripke stated that the Hero Orgasm had the craziest dailies he'd ever seen, and that people were not ready to watch it. However, the part of the comic book story in which Soldier Boy, who is depicted as a superhero who has yearly sex with Homelander, is in an attempt to gain membership in the Seven, will not be used, and that instead Soldier Boy was depicted as Homelander before Homelander, a superhero from World War II brought out of retirement. Kripke also revealed that instead of portraying Soldier Boy as innocent like he is depicted in the comics, he would be worse than Homelander. On June 10th, 2022, Amazon then again renewed the series for its 4th season.
So we'll be moving on to some casting. On December 18th, 2017, it was announced that Erin Moriarty had been casted in the lead role of Annie January, Starlight. On January 17th, 2018, it was reported that Anthony Starr, Dominique McElliott, and Chance Crawford, Jesse Usher, and Nathan Mitchell had joined the main cast. In March 2018, it was announced that Laz Alonso, Jack Quaid, and Karen Fukuhara had been cast as in the series' regular roles. On April 5th, 2018, it was reported that Carl Urban had been cast in the series' lead role of Billy Butcher. On May 16th, 2018, it was announced that Elizabeth Shue had been cast in the series' regular role of Madeline Stillwell. On June 25th, 2018, it was reported that Tomer Capon had joined the main cast in the role of Frenchie. On August 30th, 2018, it was announced that Jennifer Esposito had been cast in a recurring role of CIA agent Susan Rayner. On October 5th, 2018, it was announced during the annual New York Comic-Con that Simon Pegg had been cast as the role of Huey's father. According to the artist Robertson, Huey was drawn in the comics to resemble Peg after he saw Peg in a sitcom, Spaced. But Peg was thought he was too old to play the role of Huey in the TV series. On September 5th, 2019, Goran Visnik and Claudia Dumont were cast in recurring roles for the second season. A month later, Patton Oswalt, fucking love him, was announced in an unspecified role. Aya Cash was confirmed to be portraying superhero Stormfront in March 2020. Following contract negotiations that began when the second season was announced on August 10th, 2020, it was reported that Shawn Ashmore was cast as Lamplighter for the second season. A week later, Jensen Ackles joined the cast for the third season as Soldier Boy. Oh, Jensen Ackles. Okay, so Jensen Ackles joined the cast for the third season as Soldier Boy. On October 30th, 2020, Claudia Dumont and Colby Menifee were promoted to the series regulars for the third season. On March 26, 2021, Katja Winters joined the cast as a recurring role as Little Nina for the third season. On June 23rd, 2021, Miles Gaston Villanova, Sean Patrick Flannery, and Nick Welsler were cast as Supersonic, Gunpowder, and Blue Hawk, respectively, for the third season in undisclosed capacities. 2 days later, Laurie Holden joined the cast as Crimson Countess in the recurring role for the third season. On October 5th, 2021, France Turner, Kristen Booth, and Jack Dolan joined the cast as Monique and twins Tessa and Tommy, aka the TNT twins, in recurring roles for the third season. On July 8th, 2022, it was announced that Nathan Mitchell, who portrayed the masked Black Noir in the first three seasons, despite his character's death in the third season, would continue to portray a new replacement Black Noir in a main capacity in fourth season of the series. On August 1st, 2022, it was reported that Cameron Corvetti had been promoted to as a series regular, while Valerie Curry and Susan Hayward were cast as a series regular for the fourth season. Later that month, Jeffrey Dean Morgan was cast in an undisclosed role. On December 1st, 2022, Rosemary DeWitt, Rob Benedict, and Elliot Knight joined the cast in undisclosed capacities for the fourth season.
So filming of the series actually series at the Picot Square in Toronto, despite the series actually taking place in New York City, like in the comics. It was confirmed that the filming would actually be taking place at the city of Toronto in Canada instead. In November 2017, it was announced that the filming for the series was slated to begin filming in 2018, with the hopes of releasing it in 2019. The series was mainly shot in Toronto. It was confirmed that additional filming would also be taking place during other cities of Canada, such as Hamilton, for a few other locations. Principal photography for the first season took place on May 22nd, on September 25th, 2018, in Toronto. The crew filmed at the Royal Thompson Hall in order to get the shots for the exterior for the 7 Tower, which was digitally created through CGI. The building's structure was digitally altered and extended to become the 7 Tower. For interiors of the tower, including some of the rooms and the modern lobby where the fictional company celebrates the corporate parties, the interior of Roy Thompson Hall was used. 4 times square, the crew filmed in Yodanj Dunas Square in Toronto, and proceeded to digitally alter it. A-Train's race with Shockwave was filmed at Tim Hortons Field Stadium, located in Hamilton, Ontario. Lower Bay Stadium station was used for the subway scenes. The crew also filmed at several places of interiors through the city, such as Sherborne Commons and the Cathedral Church of St. James. Another shooting location was at the Parkwood Estates in Oshawa, Ontario, as the mansion for Dr. Jonah Vogelbaum. The filming for the second season took place on June 17th to November 13th, 2019. For the translucent funeral ceremony, the crew filmed at the Medallion Arts Center, which is located at the North York District in Toronto. The crew filmed at the Wet and Wild Toronto water parks for the scenes with the Deep when he's arrested, with some CGI modifications in order to recreate the series' fictional location Splash Zone, which is in Sandusky Park for the show. For the scenes of the Church of the Collective, filming took place at the Scottish Rites Club in Hamilton, Ontario, to create the Sage Grove psychiatrical hospital. The crew filmed at the Southwest Central for Forensic Mental Health Care Complex, which is located in the city of St. Thompson in Ontario. While filming for the second season, a scene was planned to be shot at the Mel Lastman Square. However, they were relocated to the Toronto City Council as the location was too close to a place where the Toronto van attack occurred in April of 2018. The filming for the third season took place from February 24th to September 10th, 2021. The filming for the season was actually not affected by COVID-19 pandemic, though several precautions were implemented to ensure the safety of cast and crew. The new locations included for the scene were Metro Toronto Convention Center as Vault headquarters, St. George Manor as the host to the studio for the fictitious reality show American Hero, and Canada's Wonderland Medieval Fair sections as Vault's land themed park.
So, as you know, all popular things do, this has its own spin-offs. The Boys presents Diabolical. On December 5th, 2021, the Brazilian Comic-Con Prime Video announced that The Boys presents Diabolical, an animated anthology series, had been given an 8-episode series order on January 18th, 2022. It was announced that the series would be premiere on March 4th, 2022. Gen V. On September 24th, 2020, it was announced that a spin-off centered on a superhero college had been fast-tracked into development upon the rating success of the series' second season. Described as being part college show, part Hunger Games, and then spin-off is set at America's only college exclusively for young adult superheroes. It's run by, Vought International and is described as irreverent R-rated series that explores the lives of hormonal competitive soups as they put their physical, sexual, and moral boundaries to the test, competing for the best contracts in the best cities. On October 2nd, 2020, Kripke stated that the series would focus on the G-Men team that had been mentioned in the first season, a parody of the X-Men. On September 27th, 2021, the entitled spinoff was given a series order by Amazon Studios. Filming of the series titled Gen V beginning at the University of Toronto in May 2020 and the Clairville Conservation Area, Brampton, in July, intended for an October wrap.
Yeah, so some changes. Actually, surprisingly enough, for how hard the show is and how rough it is, the show's actually toned down.
It's worse.
The Boys is actually considered one of the goriest and bloodiest shows on Earth. Its graphic depictions of sex, violence, pushes the boundaries of small screen entertainment in ways never thought of were possible. It is still nothing compared to the comic book source material. Garth Ennis is a man who is known not to hold back when making his storylines. His previous creations were the Punisher and Preacher series. So that should kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about. The show just stops things with some blood and guts. The comic book has scenes that literally has like soups biting the heads off of babies. and sexual assaults on an asteroid, to name a few. So Seth Rogen, who served as executive producer in the Amazon Prime original series, but if Fate have actually had it his way, he would have actually it would have actually been very different than the comic actor would have actually been directing the very plot episode of The Boys. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, co-creators of the live-action adaptation of the Garth Ennis Preacher, so they were actually the first choices for The Boys. The reason they did not come into the picture was due to scheduling conflicts. As a result, 10 Cloverfield Lane director Dan Trachtenberg was roped in for the series director, and I think he really thought he brought a wonderful style. It's a very good looking show. Toronto, so Toronto residents actually were not too pleased about a very specific scene in the show. The United States friendly neighbor to the north isn't exactly known for its tough guy stance, nor does it have a history of violence or rebellion. The residents wanted to keep it that way and even went as far as to protest a specific scene involving an attack on residents in the city. So here's some more caveat. So number one, here's something here. Butcher perhaps prepares some temp V in The Boys. One of the biggest changes between the comic and the series is that the Boys actually lack power. Even before the comic's present day, the Boys already use Compound V, which I didn't know. That's new to me. I'd never read the comic, so I started just started getting into it. Compound V to level their fighting chances against the Seven. Thematically speaking, the comics view dangerous superheroes as a tool that could be used for good or evil. Besides the live action boys, minus Kimiko, being ordinary humans who rely on like guerrilla tactics, superpowers are actually depicted negatively. Though they're at a disadvantage. The boys lack the power, kept them actually human. Butcher and Huey's addiction actually to Temp V parallels toxic masculinity temptations. While those who use power heroically are exceptions. Certain characters' backstories and arcs were actually significantly retooled. For example, Starlight joins the meeting in The Boys when it comes to adapting comic books to live action. It's it's going to happen, but the characters' stories are going to change. The Boys is actually no different though. For example, Frenchie isn't the comics' feral fighter, while Kimiko was a child soldier and not a lab creation. They still retain their personalities and dynamics from the comics, but they're still following a new narrative path. A more extreme change could be found actually in Starlight or Annie January, who was a little more than actually Huey's love interest in the comics. In the series, Annie also started out as a naive and idealistic superhero, but unlike her comic counterpart, she defiantly asserts herself, fought back, and eventually becomes a member of the Boys.
All right, so continuing on, many characters were completely remade for the show. Black Noir reunites with his pals in The Boys. Amazon series features many characters from the comics, but mostly from an in-name only basis. Examples include A-Train, the Deep, who were overhauled from jock and pragmatist into a troubled athlete and desperate celebrity, respectively. Similarly, Mallory and Stillwell and Vic the Veep were gender flipped and received new, deeper arcs. Homelander is now responsible for his own villainy. Homelander scolds himself and the boys. The comics' biggest plot twist is that Homelander was basically gaslit into becoming a monster by his clone, Black Noir. In fact, half of the atrocities that Homelander thought he committed were Noir's doing. While this is great for the unpredictable twist, it robbed Homelander of accountability and somewhat excused his actions and ego. In contrast, the series did away with the noir twist and made Homelander responsible for his villainous turn. This made him more frightening because he willingly chose to become an evil monster. The live action Homelander is still entitled, spoiled, and driven by a need for love, but he's more capable and proactive than his comics version ever was. So, Victoria Newman, in one of the few gender swap roles, Victoria Newman, Claudia Dumont, uh, actually appears in the comics as Victor Newman, Vic the Veep, as he is known and is a high-ranking political figure who acts as an inside man for Vought. This insight to this isn't too different from Victoria, who is also a politician and is revealed to be working alongside Stan Edgar, the CEO of Vought. However, as well as the huge difference of being a woman on screen, Victoria is also revealed to be a soup known as Head Popper. This is unique to the TV series. So, Flight 37, the famous flight incident where Homelander and reluctant Queen Maeve abandoned all the passengers as the plane crashed into the ocean, had very different origins. Their comics version of this involved September 11 attacks. The Soups intercepted one of the attacking planes, but then instead redirected it into the Brooklyn Bridge, causing another catastrophe. This telling of the story serves more to highlight the recklessness of the Seven, whereas on screen it is shown as how Homelander is not much of a hero at all. The original storyline also wouldn't have really fit into this timeline of the series, which is set more near now. Huey and Annie. The boys comic focuses heavily on the romance between Huey and Annie, but in the comic, Huey doesn't use the relationship that or to manipulate Annie and work against the Seven. He doesn't even realize he's dating a superhero at first, and when Billy finds out that about their relationship, it leads him to wonder if Huey is actually a mole working for Vought America. Another key difference is that both Huey and Annie are much more proactive in the show. Both characters stand up for their respective teams in season one, whereas it takes them much longer to become disillusioned and stand up for themselves in the original story. This is the biggest atrocity of them all. Where's Terror? Billy Butcher is more imposing figure in the comic. Not only does he have Compound V derived super strength, he's got a sidekick in the form of his trusty bulldog Terror. Terror is known for urinating and his master's enemy, and much worse. Despite the fact that Terror has appeared in some of the Amazon's promotional material, he rarely shows up in the series, apart from a quick flashback cameo and slightly longer appearance in season 2. Terror seems content to kick back and take it easy. Homelander's son. The comic revealed that Billy's hatred of the superhero stems from an incident where Homelander does unspeakable things to Billy's wife, Becca. The details differ quite a bit in the comic. However, the show leads viewers to believe Becca has been killed in the process of giving birth to a superhuman child, only for Homelander and Billy to discover that Becca and her son are still alive and in hiding. In the comic, she did actually die in childbirth, whereas in the show, she doesn't die until the season 2 finale. And in other huge change, Billy himself actually murders the superhuman infant in the comic, whereas he accepts the responsibility for protecting Ryan in the show. The comic also reveals it wasn't actually Homelander who did those unspeakable deeds to Becca. Stormfront and Lamplighter. Season 2 adds two more major superheroes to the ranks with this debut of Stormfront and Lamplighter. And in both cases, they are both very different from their source materials. Stormfront, like Mallory and Stillwell before her, is changed from male to female for the Amazon series. The show retains the character's basic backstory as a ageless Nazi whose powers are equal parts Thor and Shazam, but the fact that she's a woman now plays heavily into her role change. Rather than being a member of the super team Payback, Stormfront is full-fledged member of the Seven, whose rivalry with Homelander turns into a heated romance. She also finally meets her end, not thanks to Billy Butcher and his team, but Ryan, Homelander's son. Season 2 also finally puts Lamplighter in the spotlight. While both the comic and TV series reveal Lamplighter to be a soup responsible for murdering Mallory's family, in fact, an act of intimidation, the show also reveals Lamplighter, who was misled into believing he was killing Mallory herself, not civilians. In general, he's portrayed far more sympathetically in the Amazon series, right up until his unaliving. Whereas in the comic, he's summarily beaten to death by the boys and resurrected as a branded zombie. The show also adds a new angle by making Lamplighter a sort of prisoner or prison warden slash nurse in Vaught's medical research facility. And so that was really it for like our facts and stuff on this. Claudian, what
And
are
the
your thoughts
verses.
on this?
Um, yeah. So I did watch all 3 seasons. I, like I mentioned earlier, I did try to catch a little bit of the comic. There's a lot there. I'm just glad I got through the show because each episode's like, shoot, almost an hour long, and it's like no
We've been
ads.
preparing this since
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah. So no, it's great. Actually, the show I've been meaning to watch, and now having the opportunity to do it with a goal to for this episode for sure.
A reason.
For a real reason, yeah. It's just a lot to commit, but no, it's great. It's utter social satire. Everything from like the the collective being basically the the Scientology. It's basically a
Yes.
direct representation of that to like the cliche. You know, the church. A church is often more corrupt than than really the anything else. And then are superheroes really heroes, or are they just dickwads? You know what I mean? And in this show, you definitely get to find out that for sure.
Yeah, you do.
And they're all dickwads. So, I I know there's one scene that got like kind of circulated around TikTok, and I didn't know it was from this show, but it was the "I'm better, I'm stronger." It's like everywhere on. It was like one of those catchy things on TikTok, and I didn't know I was like Homelander. Like for example, I was like, "Where's that?" Why do I keep seeing this like little snippet? And yeah, no, it's great. Casting's very well done. I mean, everyone's great in it. It's actually surprising that that's on Amazon. I ain't gonna lie. Like, especially from like, that was kind of like its version of Stranger Things for like Netflix, essentially. Because I remember like Amazon having like literally nothing, and then all of a sudden this show came on. You gotta remember this was years ago, right? And this show came on, and now they're getting more shows, excluding one show that we'll never talk about ever again. And then if they do a season 2 of it, we're never going to review it or talk about it. But but like, so there's shows like they got like some decent like real hard hitting shows like Reacher. If anybody's watched that show, that's great. It's kind of like that same line that this show has, where it's real. It just feels real. It's treated like a real reality. Nothing's like outlandish. I mean, everything's outlandish in it, but the a little tiny guy named the Tick goes in a guy's a ding dong, and then he goes full size, and
He goes full Thanos on him. Like
Yeah.
what everyone wanted Ant-Man to do, he does that.
yeah, it's yeah, and then Frenchie and Kamiko will run right in, or no, it's just Frenchie, right? Yeah, it's Frenchie because she didn't come back yet, and he just kind of like, oop, like he's like, I'm gonna go now, and the guy's like, wait, I can't let you go, and he's like, he's trying to get up my butthole, I mean, so it's got like this real absurdity. Like if you're squeamish, don't watch this show. It's got very much BC blood and guts, literally.
Body horror.
Like I don't know if it's just blood and guts. I don't know if it's necessarily body horror. Is it?
Kinda.
Isn't body horror like when like Callisto Protocol or like Dead Space, where it's like
I mean,
like
yeah.
things become tentacles and they become alive in that? I don't know.
I don't know. These people get messed up.
But it gets pretty dark and pretty
Quick.
pretty-
Very
yeah.
quick.
and yeah, they
Like
got
the first episode's messed up.
yeah, and they got this veneer of just like, oh, we're so popcorn and America, and it's really about corruption from all because of an ex-Nazi,
Yeah.
Frederick Volt. Goddamn Nazis. We're still fighting them to this day.
Yeah.
Damn. Anyways, no, it's great though. I'm glad I was able to finally watch all the seasons. There's 3 right now. Can't wait for the next season. But what do you think, Nick? What's your thoughts?
I mean, I absolutely love the show. This was like my 3rd time rewatching it. I only read the comic book 1 time, but overall, I mean, this is an easy 10. If I could rate it higher, I would. I mean, it is in my opinion, it's like damn near perfect, like from beginning to end. I mean, yeah, there are some weird changes, like the Vic the Veep one where they change, the gender changes, but they add so much depth to the characters. I actually think that they were good. They were good changes. Yeah. Like sometimes they just do it just to do it, but like these were perfect. Like
yeah, and of
I
course,
didn't mind it.
Of course, I didn't know about these changes, so like the whole time I'm like, who's the head popper? Who's the head popper? It was a total shock. Like, and again, I would rate this. I didn't mention that I didn't put a rating, but yeah, it's a 10 for me, 10 out of 10. But
yeah.
no, but yeah, I came from the not knowing, so I kind of had that sort of naiveness.
Yeah.
But yeah,
but even the animated series or the anthology, the Diabolical, is really good too, and that's also on Amazon.
I'll have to watch that.
But no, the comics are fantastic. The changes are like menial at best. I mean, some of the stuff actually has to be dumbed down, like the Herogasm has to be shrunk because obviously they can't rent a whole island and then do this. So it was downplayed a little bit, but I mean, still phenomenal. I mean, like it fit the story. They made everything great. I mean, dude, the whole thing is just fantastic. I mean, it's 10. There's nothing else I can say.
Yeah, there's a lot of little nuggets that are just great. It's I got anything bad to say about it. It's actually anything Amazon. If they have one really good show, it's definitely
The Boys.
The Boys for sure.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to see like Carl Urban.
I love Carl.
And then seeing like a person we didn't mention, but like Jim Beaver, who played Bobby in Supernatural. He's the senator. I don't know why he wasn't on the cast list from our information we grabbed. I was like, Jim Beaver, why isn't he cast in this? It's great to see him. And then another Supernatural alumni, of course, Jensen Atkins, and it's just, and now we got Jeffrey Dean Morgan coming on. So we're going to have like a whole Supernatural cast, like pretty much going to be on this. And then the guy who plays Butcher's father, he was in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
He's what was it? Demenir,
Demenir,
the steward of Gondor. Yeah.
Denethor.
Yeah, the one who.
I know.
The one who gets set on fire and.
Previous episode.
Click right here, right? Yeah. We covered that, but he seemed like John Noble. He wasn't in the cast either, but I'm watching. I'm like, is that John? Is it?
I think they were just going for like main cast, like people that are in there for more than like 5-10 minutes. A lot of these people were in there for full episodes.
Yeah, it's interesting because like, and I loved the show in the sense of like, for how bad they are and stuff. Really, Vault is always kind of usually ahead of them. Like,
except they own everything.
Except for I don't know. Were they really that surprised about the compound that V being like distributed?
No, not really.
Because I was watching.
They were doing it on purpose. If you
I know Homelander was.
No, it wasn't Homelander. It was Vought themselves.
Because Homelander mentioned that they
were trying to get it into the Senate to make
super villains.
No, they were trying to get it into the Senate to make them into the army. So they were making super villains.
Yeah.
And that's why they were trying to, because that would have been a bigger contract, the U.S. Army.
Because I was just trying to think. That was what it worked.
They trapped that one guy with the pictures with the body changer guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's why they were giving out the Compound V to get into the military.
Okay. Well, I was trying to remember if there was a point where because Homeland, it's weird because like Homelander is kind of like doing his thing because he thinks he should be in charge. And then there's Vaults, who's a corporation, who's also scheming. Everyone's scheming in this show, but no,
Yeah.
it's honestly a great show. I highly recommend it. So if you haven't seen The Boys, check it out. But if you're squeamish and if you're very if you're very trigger worn, um, don't I just warning you. It's very the subject matters are not easy for everybody.
It's not for kids either.
Oh God,
I
no,
don't. I think that goes without saying with just what we've read. But
no. If you just watch the opening and it says MA and it literally goes down the entire list of why this is an MA
yeah,
show.
it's like a paragraph in its
It's
own.
like yeah, everything's in it, and I wouldn't I wouldn't think I hopefully nobody thought that was a kids show. So
But yeah, so I think that
yep, 10 out of 10, and you got a 10 out of 10.
yeah.
All right.
All right.
So I guess that will conclude our episode. So until next time, ooh, my throat. So see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye.